Today we're showing you how to set yourself up for a domination victory. We're taking our time and going through the decisions we make step by step. You'll have an easier time learning the concepts, and with any luck, you'll be able to apply them to your own game sooner than you'd think. If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell to keep up with the channel. Alright, so today we're going to be playing with the Ottomans, and they actually have a unique governor here. Their ability, the Grand Vizier, gives them an exclusive unique governor with military and diplomatic abilities. They also gain the Janissary unique unit when the gunpowder technology is researched. So we'll definitely see this as we get into the game here, but their unique governor is really fucking powerful. And if you are playing with the Ottomans, it's definitely something you're going to be wanting to go, as long as you are playing a domination, which, I mean, let's be realistic, if you're playing with the Ottomans, chances are you are going for a domination. Continuing along here, their next ability is the Great Turkish Bombard. They get plus 50% production towards siege units. All siege units gain plus 5 combat strength against district defenses. As if that wasn't just good enough on its own, they also get conquered cities do not lose population. Cities not founded by the Ottomans gain plus 1 amenity and plus 4 loyalty per turn. So essentially, not only are the cities that you conquer not going to drop in population when you attack them and invade them, which is a huge bonus in and of itself right there, but on top of all that, this civilization basically has, when you're playing domination and you pick the governor Victor, and then you upgrade him on the promotion path, and then you give him the promotion where he actually helps you maintain loyalty as you conquer nations, the Ottomans have that built in without the governor. So just imagine Victor on top of that. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, let's get into this game and see where we're going. Alright, well, this is definitely a decent start here. I'm going to have to take a quick second to think about this. I mean, clearly we're playing this. Let's not even fuck around with that. But just as to exactly where we're going to get started, I got to take a quick second to think about what is probably the most optimal choice for us to make. Alright, so I think what we're going to do here is head down to the right here one tile. We're going to be taking a turn 2 settle, and the reason behind this is we have so much production. I mean, look at this, it's freaking ridiculous, right? However, we don't have a lot of food generation, so I think by moving down one, we're going to be getting closer to the flatlands over here, which will give us a nice location to get a farming triangle up in a fairly reasonable amount of time, as well as just getting this first tile boosted as quickly as we can in order to help us with our food intake. Our capital is clearly going to have amazing production. However, our ability to actually grow our fucking capital and increase the population is severely limited, because even though we have all this great production, there's clearly no tile that's immediately in our surrounding that is going to help us grow it all. They're all basically one food tile. So that's why I personally think that it's a better option for us to move down and get a little bit closer to our actual food resources here. Now, with that being said, we'll go ahead and settle next turn with our warrior. Let's just start taking a poke around and see what we can see. Okay, so clearly there's a good opportunity here. Let's take a quick look at our settler lens. Now, if you don't know this off the top of your head, you can either come and get at it through here and do it manually, or just click on number 4 on your keyboard and it opens it up for you here. But you can clearly see where the fresh resources, where the fresh water is. Now, we're going to plop our city down here, and we need to at least have 4 tiles between us and our next city. So what I'm thinking is we're probably going to plop our second city down on this Mercury here, as for one, settling on the resource of Mercury itself is going to give us access to that resource immediately, which means as soon as we find another civilization in the game, we can trade that off for gold to help us do whatever the hell we want to do at that point, which is always nice. And then on top of that, it actually has quite a few nice hill tiles here for production in and of itself, as well as some decent mountains and stuff if we want to get campuses going on in the immediate future here. So we'll go ahead and plop our city down. Alright, so we got the +1 era score here, and that's because we settled the city on a river, and that river happens to have floodplains on it. So anytime you do settle a city with a river that has floodplains attached to it, you automatically get +1 era score. It's just like if you settle near a volcano, you get +1 era score, or the desert or tundra, etc., etc. So if you can manage to do that in the early game, it's just a nice little bonus. Other than that, though, it's not really that big of a deal, to be completely honest. It's more like icing on the cake than something you specifically target in most situations. Alright, so continuing on here, we're going to go ahead and open up with a scout. Generally speaking, I really think that opening up with a scout is what you're going to do every single time. I mean, unless you're really, really paranoid that you're going to be attacked early and you're not feeling comfortable, then maybe you can go ahead and open up with a warrior or something to give yourself that extra combat strength so that you'll be able to defend yourself if you happen to meet an aggressive AI. However, I think 99.9% of the time, unless you are a little bit paranoid like we just mentioned, opening with a scout is definitely your best bet. Now, as far as technology goes, what we're going to do is we're going to head into mining straight away here. Now, this is because we have a copper right next to us, which is a great tile in and of itself, but being able to add more production to it is always nice. Not to mention we have so many hills around us that that's going to be good. But then after we get mining, we'll definitely be headed towards animal husbandry here in order to get these ivory tiles up online as soon as we can. Now, I'm definitely taking a look around here. I'm definitely thinking that the Pantheon that adds +1 food and +1 production is definitely an option for us here. Either that, or obviously getting the Pantheon that gives you that bonus settler is always a good choice, but we'll have to keep it in mind as we take a closer look at our surroundings as we continue to explore here. Now, let's keep going with the warrior.
Opposite Laodicea is higher up on this.
Okay, cool. So we ended up bumping into the natural wonder here that was recently added with with Gathering Storm. Anyway, it's a 2-tile natural wonder that gives +1 amenity. It also provides an additional amenity if adjacent to an entertainment complex, which, well, let's be real, isn't going to be a situation that we're going to come across in this. However, it also gives major adjacency bonuses to theater squares, campuses, and commercial hub districts. Standard adjacency bonus to holy site districts. It provides fresh water. Alright, so that is actually amazing news for us here. Now, taking a look around, we were already planning on settling here. I think what we're going to basically plan on now that we found this is we're going to slot in to build a campus here. It's a little bit unfortunate taking over a hill tile, as we're going to lose a bit of production, especially a grassland hill, as the added food is always nice, but in this situation it's definitely worth it because we have such a far way to go playing as the Ottomans. I mean, our special unit, the Janissary, we don't get it unlocked until all the way over here in gunpowder, and we're realistically kind of all over the place as to what we want to get. I mean, we want to get to campus to get science going because we have to go so far. However, we want to get our encampments set up and get into bronze working. So it's definitely a priority for us to get some decent campuses up as quickly as we can. Now, with that being said, because of this wonder here, we're also going to slot in our commercial hub right here. Now, normally when you're playing, you want to set your commercial hubs up next to rivers anytime that you can, because they give a +2 major adjacency bonus for being next to a river. However, in this situation, this natural wonder in and of itself gives us +2 for each tile. So this commercial hub is actually going to be a +5 commercial hub once we get going, because it's going to have +2 from being next to one tile, +2 from being next to the other, and then it will actually get another adjacency bonus from having the combination of our campus and our city next to it for a total of +5. So that's definitely a great spot. We ended up lucking out extremely hard in order to find this natural wonder being so close to us early on here. Alright, so as far as that technology, like we already mentioned, let's go for mining, and then after mining we're going to head towards animal husbandry as we brought up, and then we'll kind of reevaluate from there depending on what we find out with our warrior as we explore. Okay, so we'll go ahead and skip turn here. Okay, so we're just going to keep moving around with our warrior. And we've found a barbarian camp. Now, I am planning on getting a settler relatively soon here. After our scout, we're probably going to get a warrior. So the reason that we're going to be headed into a warrior next is that, as I already mentioned, our unique unit is a Janissary, which is way over here in gunpowder. However, on top of that, it's also a melee unit. So what that means is, because we are planning on doing a domination, we want to get as many melee units out as quickly as we can so that we can start getting combat experience with them and then upgrade them early on through fighting barbarians and whatnot, and then they'll be that much more powerful when we end up upgrading them into our Janissaries later in the game. Okay, so seeing as how we are planning on going for a settler right after that warrior, instead of killing this barbarian camp right away, we're going to keep taking a look around here. We're not going to go too far because believe it or not, it can become a huge fucking mess if you leave barbarian camps around, and especially after this latest patch, they seem to actually go a lot crazier than they used to. At least maybe my memory is fuzzy, I don't know, but it seems that way to me anyway. So we are going to take a look around here and explore a little bit, but essentially what we're going to do is wait to kill this barbarian camp until we actually get that settler out and we place our second city, because in case you didn't know, you actually get an extra era point for clearing the barbarian camp if it's within 6 tiles of your city. So clearly this isn't within 6 tiles of our capital here, but when we place our second city it will be. So we'll get 3 era score rather than 2, which is obviously a nice little boost there. So we can see their scout is just dicking around a little bit. Speaking of scouts, we finished ours, so we are going to go ahead and head into a warrior next. And now with our scout here, we'll head up towards the north and see what we can see across the river. Now, I will go ahead and take a shot at their scout here. It's not really going to do anything other than just give us experience, and we can use all the experience we can get. So we'll keep going with that scout. We'll heal up for a tile here with our warrior. Or for a tile, for a turn, I mean. We'll keep going with this guy. So clearly we have some nice tiles over here. The only thing I'm concerned about is that we don't have any fresh water that we can see in the immediate vicinity. So let's keep exploring and hopefully we run into a river of some sort.
When you find yourself in a hole,
we did manage to get mining, which is nice, but we're headed straight into animal husbandry next. And the more that we explore here, the more tiles that I'm seeing to build camps on. And so I'm thinking we probably will go ahead and try out that Pantheon that gives +1 food and +1 production per camp. I haven't actually used it yet since the June update, and this seems to be a pretty decent chance to try it out and see what it does for us here, as I'm not really seeing anything else that jumps out at me other than getting that bonus settler, which is always nice. I mean, I suppose we could do the one where you get production and whatnot for mines over luxury resources, but I guess we'll keep that in mind and just keep exploring here. Okay, so we finished our warrior, and actually we still have 4 more turns until our population grows. That's the thing that I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, where our food production is so freaking horrible in the city, which is why we moved down here in the first place. So what we're going to do is start with a builder, and then once the builder's done, we'll pivot into a settler and get that going. Now that our warrior is completed here, we'll start headed out and see what we can see towards the east. Okay, so we met Russia. Now, we're clearly not too close to our capital, whether it's the scout here or that other warrior who bumped into them. So we're going to go ahead and exchange information on our capitals. Normally, if you're worried about being attacked by an AI early in the game. If you bump into them like super early in the game where you know that clearly they're close to your capital, I would suggest that you just say, sorry, we can't give away that information right now, and that way they're less likely to show up in a few turns with an army on your doorstep. However, in this situation, I'm feeling pretty comfortable, so we're going to go ahead and exchange that. Now, the other thing that we're going to want to do right away is to send a delegation to them, and this is because if you don't send a delegation on the first turn, especially if you're playing on the harder difficulties like we're on DD at the moment, it's gonna create a rift between you and the civilization, and they will be pissy with you for the foreseeable future. So if you have the 25 gold and you're not planning on attacking them immediately, I'd go ahead and send it, and it will just give you a boost to your relationship with that civilization. So Russia is all the way over here to the east. As I said, they're quite far away from us. However, now that they're entering the vicinity, we're definitely going to head back down and go conquer that barbarian camp. The last thing I want is for Russia to head over and steal our air escort. Okay, so we did happen to find Goody Hut over here, so we'll head over there and get that. However, now that we're over here, I think that this would actually be a great spot for settling another city. Now, if we're going to put the settler lens, so again, you can either find it over here in the lenses or just press 4, which I'd prefer. I think I would plan to go ahead and actually drop a city right here. Now, it might be better off to go ahead and set it here. However, because of the access to the fresh water. However, by choosing to settle here, yes, we have to build an aqueduct in order to get around the housing problem of not having direct access to fresh water. But with that being said, we're also getting access to these great 4 yield tiles, so 2 food and 2 production, and we have 3 of them next to us immediately. Whereas if we settled on the desert, then we'd literally have shit completely surrounding us except for the 1 tile, which would have 1 food and 3 production. So I think this is the better spot here, and we can always figure out whether we're going to get an aqueduct down or however we're going to deal with the situation. Not to mention, yes, we have the desert tiles here, but we can just work around that by throwing a district down on this, or a wonder like, say, the pyramids, for instance, if we happen to go that route. Alright, so now that we got that taken care of, let's just continue on exploring here. Looks like we found a city-state, and unfortunately, because there's no little notification here, it doesn't look like we were the first to meet them. Oh, actually we were. That's weird. I don't know. I guess it's kind of intermittent. Usually there's that little icon that comes here that almost looks like the subscriber bell on YouTube with the bell and the little waves coming off of it. But whatever. Either way, we ended up getting that, so that's good for us, which means that because we have the envoy there from the first meet, we get +2 production in the capital when producing units, which is extremely beneficial in the early game, not to mention, and it's definitely going to help us get this builder out quicker, and then our settlers soon after that. Alright, so like we already talked about, we're going to head back towards the barbarian camp here. It does sound like we found another Goody Hut somewhere. I guess it was over here with this with this warrior. From the Goody Hut to the north up here, our scout discovered we got the benefit towards, we got the boost towards stake workforce, which, I mean, really is kind of a little bit of a letdown if we're being honest, because in order to get that boost, all you actually need to do is build a district of any sort whatsoever, so it's not like that's something that's hard for us to achieve. But we can't always get what we want, I guess. Let's just keep exploring with our scout. Speaking of which, we bumped into the Khmer here. So, again, because they are so far from us, I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and say it's an honor to meet them, and we'll exchange information on our capitals. Now, normally when I'm playing domination, I wouldn't suggest sending delegations to every civilization you meet, because a lot of them are going to end up not liking you anyways once you start declaring war. However, both the civilizations that we've bumped into, Russia here and the Khmer, are pretty fucking far away from us, so I am going to go ahead and send them a delegation as well, and this just goes to help keep us on fairly good terms with them, and then we can kind of determine one way or the other which one we're going to attack first and go accordingly. That it will also help us get more favorable terms when we strike up trade deals with them, especially once we settle on the Mercury here and get that resource up and running. Alright, so we're headed back towards this Barbarian Camp, and they're still there waiting for us. We'll get started with that next turn. Meanwhile, this warrior found the good he had over here, so let's go take a look and see what we get. And with our scout, on the other hand, we're just going to go ahead and turn them onto automated exploration. Now, there does seem to be quite a bit of good tiles over here as well, so I'm thinking, with that being said, that we'll probably... I don't know, actually, we could go either way. I was going to say we'll probably start settling up towards the Khmer and then start a war with them immediately. However, there are some good tiles over here, so we'll just explore a little bit before we make that decision anyways. Now, we already mentioned it earlier, but I think this is still the ideal location for us to build our second city, with the Wonder being right there. We'll get some extra air score for settling it, and then have the good districts to get going immediately. But this will definitely be our third city, and then we'll sort of take it from there and play it by the ear. Alright, so we've got Code of Laws there. Now, I would definitely suggest that beginner players always take the Discipline card here immediately when you discover it. I actually, more often than not, go for Survey first, and then I switch into Discipline later when I'm planning on killing Barbarian Camps. However, since we do already have this Barbarian Camp that's right next door, I'm basically just going to say screw it and skip over Survey and go into Discipline. The reason that I do choose Survey more often is because it helps you upgrade your scouts that much quicker. By giving them more experience, you can give them the promotion, and then they can actually get past more terrain, whether it's hills or forested tiles. It helps them explore more, which ends up getting you more air score, etc., etc. So that's why I think Survey is a good pick if you're feeling a lot more comfortable with dealing with barbarians, unless, as I said, in this situation where we happen to already have a camp right next door to us, I'm going to go ahead and slot in Discipline. Now, as far as our economic policies, I always suggest that you go ahead and take God King. There just really isn't any comparison, unless you happen to be one of those civilizations that gives you ungodly amounts, no pun intended, ungodly amounts of faith in the early game, like Indonesia or the Mali, etc. Or you happen to be lucky enough to find a relic, or get the first meet on a religious city-state, which will give you +2 faith per turn in the capital. And in that case, I'd suggest you just say fuck it, skip God King, and go straight towards urban planning, because it is by far the better choice for a government policy slot, except for the fact that we need that Pantheon, so that's why we're choosing God King. Alright, so we finished Code of Laws, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into Foreign Trade next. And this is because although we will get craftsmanship, although we will get the boost towards craftsmanship because we are going to improve 3 tiles, we already have discovered a second continent here, so it just makes more sense to head towards this way. Not to mention, we want to get as many cities out as quickly as we can, so heading towards colonization over here is a good idea, as it'll help us get the production towards those settlers. And this is because when you're playing a domination game, you want to get your first 2 or 3 cities founded as quickly as humanly possible, and preferably in good locations that have high production. So we actually have 3 great locations here for our first 3 cities. However, as the Ottomans specifically, because as we already talked about, our unique unit is so fucking far down this technology tree that we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to settle more than 3 cities. Whereas, generally speaking, when you're going for a domination victory, you'll settle 3 or 4 cities at the most, and then just start attacking other civilizations and taking their cities for your own. However, with the Ottomans, it's better, in my opinion anyways, to get a solid foundation of between 4 and 6 cities before going ahead and starting the war, unless you happen to be like right beside a neighbor. And I'm talking about like your capital is 10 tiles or fewer away from theirs, then just say fuck it and go straight for a war. However, we're clearly not in that situation here, as both of our neighbors are an ungodly ways away from us. So we're going to go ahead and heal up one turn with our warrior over here. And now our builder's finished. So, our builder's finished. Fuck, I guess not. We ended up getting a builder from this goodie hut over here. So that is a nice little boost. We are definitely going to be improving 3 tiles here very quickly. So we'll go ahead now that we have this extra builder to play around with. And we'll just start with a mine over here. Next turn we'll have another builder out. And then we'll head into producing this settler. So our city already needs food. Our population is stagnant, as we were already talking about. It's because we have a massive amount of production. However, we don't have any good food tiles, but we'll be doing our best to fix that when we build a farm next. And then we'll expand down here as quickly as we can to get a farming triangle going as quickly as we can. And in case you don't know, when you build a farming triangle, aka having 3 farms in a triangle next to each other, it actually, you get a boost of food between all 3 of the tiles. So if you can figure out space in your cities to do that, it's nice. It will definitely help them grow a lot quicker. And for us, clearly in this situation, we need all the help we can get because of our lack of food in the capital. Okay, so we're going to just keep going here with the warrior. With this builder, we're going to head right over here and build a farm immediately. Not to mention, we probably have enough cash now that we can go ahead... Oops, wrong button. You know what? We're actually going to expand there in 5 turns anyway. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and buy this tile, even though it would be nice to get that wheat going as quickly as we can. Since we're expanding there in 5 turns, it just makes sense that we'll go ahead and do this. So we'll head down there next. Now, this builder can go ahead. We'll get this mine going, and then we'll head up north and get this camp up online as soon as we finish animal husbandry. It'll actually work out quite well that I think it'll sync up, and the turn that we get animal husbandry, we can drop that camp. Now we finished the builder like we talked about, so we're headed into a settler immediately. Now, as you can see here, we only have 2 population, and it's only taking us 6 turns to get that settler out. That is because we have such a high amount of production here in the capital. And then on top of that, as we already mentioned, we have the Envoy and Praslov here, so it gives us that added 2 production when we are building units. So that's a nice boost in the early game. So we'll go ahead here and build a farm. That gets us our boost towards craftsmanship, which is nice. But we're going to stick with our foreign trade as we want to get that colonization policy card that we mentioned earlier. Now with this builder, I am just going to go ahead and get him to move over to the wheat here next. Okay, so the Barbarian Camp has actually gone ahead and spawned a Slinger here, and they're taking free shots at us. So we're going to go ahead and attack into them now, as us just sitting there and recuperating health isn't going to go very well with them being able to do ranged attacks on us. So we're going to keep exploring with our warrior here. We'll actually...
everywhere, nor any drop to drink.
Okay, so we found another natural wonder, which is nice. We're definitely going to be getting a normal age for sure this turn. We've gotten 11 out of 11 so far. Now, considering we are doing so well with our era score, and we do have these barbarian camps around, maybe it's possible for us to get a golden age here. So we're definitely want to keep that in mind as we progress. Now, we still have quite a ways to go before the era ends, so that's good news. We only have 14 more era score that we need to find, and considering we'll get 3 for clearing that out, that leaves us 11 to go. 10, I guess, once we get this goodie hut. So it might be possible, so that's definitely something we'll keep in mind. In the meantime, let's just keep going here. We'll sit there and just get this builder to go to sleep until we get that tile. In the meantime, it didn't work out quite so good as we had hoped for, so we'll sit and get this builder here to wait another turn before he goes ahead and gets that camp online, which he can do now. So we'll do that now. What we're going to do is basically just run away here with our warrior, we're going to move over one tile and we'll take our promotion. This way we'll regenerate our health, we'll get more combat strength, and be able to fight against them more efficiently than the next time here. Also, in case you don't know, as far as promotions go, when I'm planning on an early conquest, I almost always take Tortoise as the first promotion here. I just think it's more efficient to help your melee units survive in order to get the next promotion. And I generally, with all my melee units, 9 times out of 10 at least, will take both promotions first in the base, from the base here, before I move up and choose other ones. However, in this situation, as we're not going to be starting a war right away since the other civilizations are so freaking far away from us here, and we're also dealing with these barbarians, I'm going to go ahead and take Battle Cry first this time around. It'll just give us a nice little boost here and help us be more efficient dealing with the barbarians. Alright, so we have 3 more turns until our settler's done in the capital here. Now, we finished Animal Husbandry. As we already mentioned, our special unit, our unique unit here, the Janissary, is so freaking far away, and it's so far down the tech tree that I think heading towards writing next is actually a good idea for us, so we can get some campuses on immediately. And since we have such a great spot here too, it'll actually help us get +3 era score if we can manage to get it built before the era ends. So we're going to do our best to make that happen. In the meantime, let's take a look here, and we still have next turn we'll be taking that tile, so that's nice. They've chased after us with the slinger, which is just perfect as far as we're concerned. We'll go ahead and kill them now with our upgraded combat strength. It makes us a lot more efficient. Meanwhile, we'll get this builder to head down towards this camp over here, or sorry, head down towards that ivory in order to get a camp up online with its last builder charge. So Peter here is getting pissed at us because he has an innate leader ability where he likes your civilization if you have high culture and high science productivity, and we clearly don't at this point, so that's why he's just chirping us a little bit. There's nothing that you can do this early in the game, especially when you're playing on Deity Difficulty. The AIs definitely have a boost in the beginning, and it takes you a little bit before you can catch up to them. However, getting us a sick campus like this is going to help us get that going. Not to mention, now that I'm thinking more about it, this is actually a great spot for a campus as well in our third city there. So we'll go ahead and pin that in right there. That should be another +5 campus, and I'm pretty sure this one will be a +4 campus, and then it'll turn into +5 once we get that commercial hub up later in the game. Alright, so our warrior here is still in pretty decent health. However, I think I'm just going to heal him up one more turn before we take a swing at the spearman. And with this warrior, however, we're just going to head towards that goody hut next turn. So somebody's built the Great Bath, which we don't really give a shit about. Our settler is finished, which is great. We're going to head over towards that location immediately. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead here and start a slinger in the capital. And this is because you basically want to build as many slingers as you can before you upgrade to archery. And the reason behind this being that if you look here, it only takes you 35 production in order to complete a slinger, and an archer is actually 60 production. So by going with a slinger, you're almost saving yourself half of the production cost, and then it only costs you 60 gold to upgrade them. So it's much more efficient for you to go ahead and build as many slingers as you possibly can, and then just pay the gold to upgrade them rather than sink that almost double the amount of production to build an archer straight out of the gate. Now, I'm not worried here about our settler headed out unescorted to settle this city, even though the barbarian scout is there. In case you don't know, barbarian scouts cannot attack your settlers or your builders unless their barbarian camp has been destroyed. If that's the case, then they will, and they are able to take over your unit, so then watch the fuck out. But we know that pretty much clearly this barbarian camp hasn't been destroyed yet, and I'm assuming there's another one around here, but with any luck it hasn't been destroyed either. Considering our neighbors are so far away, I'm assuming that we're safe. So let's cross our fingers and hopefully you don't get a good laugh at my expense here in the next turn. So with our last charge here with his builder, we'll go ahead and drop the camp down there. Just gives us some more production. Or sorry, some more production, I mean some more gold. However, we've found another barbarian camp over here, which is nice. We'll go ahead and head up here and attack this slinger. And now over here, we'll go ahead and attack into them with our warrior as well, now that they've had a chance to heal up some more. Alright, yes, nobody cares. Okay, so we've gotten our Pantheon here, which is nice. We'll go ahead and take a look and see which ones are available. So we do have Goddess of the Hunt available, and that's the one I was mentioning earlier. That gives us +1 food and +1 production from camps, and I think that's probably a good choice for us. However, let's take a quick look and see what else is here. Alright, so we do also have God of the Forge, which is a great Pantheon for when you are doing early game domination. However, as we already talked about, our two neighbors are so fucking far away that by the time we can establish a decent base to produce units from and actually get them there, chances are we're going to be in the later half of the classical era, so we're going to miss out on all that production. It just makes more sense for us to skip past that Pantheon this time. However, if you're doing early game domination and your neighbors are closer, that is definitely one that you want to go for 9 times out of 10. Another great choice for us here is the religious settlements, where you receive a free settler in your capital, and it helps you increase your expansion rate in the borders of, it helps you increase the expansion rate of your borders by 15%, which is a nice boost. However, I think we're just gonna hard build our settlers in this game, and we're gonna go ahead and test out this Goddess of the Hunt. I actually haven't been able to choose this yet, and so I think that this is a pretty decent time for us to experiment and see what it's all about. We have the 2 camps there, another spot here with the deer, and there's quite a few more. I think there's another one up to the north here. Yeah, there's some more ivory and whatnot around. So let's go ahead and give this a go. It'll definitely help us in the capital, at least with our bad food production there. It'll take these tiles, which are nice, don't get me wrong, I mean they're 6-year-old tiles, and it'll make them even better here. So we're gonna go ahead and pick that, and as you can see, it just makes these 2 freaking ivory tiles damn sexy, and they're 8 yield tiles now, so those are definitely great for us. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and wait until next turn here. Oh shit, there's another barbarian camp. Alright, so picking the discipline policy card was definitely a good choice for us. And again, I'm not worried about the scout because clearly this camp is still there, so there's nothing for us to worry about. Next turn, we'll get onto that location and settle the city, and this just looks like more free era score for us as far as I'm concerned. Now, we're at 13 of 25, and we have at least 15 turns left, so let's see here. If we're at 13, this would be 16. If we kill this one over here, that would be 18, and that one would be 21. We'd still be 4 air score short. However, if we get this campus up right away, we might be able to do it. So let's plan on going that route as quickly as we can. Now, I just realized that I totally forgot about putting this builder to sleep here. It was definitely a screw up on my part. So we're going to go ahead and get that farm going now. Okay, so our capital, between us choosing that Pantheon, which gives us the extra food for these camps, and then our farming triangle here, it will definitely get our capital growing as quickly as we can. Alright, and we have met another city-state here. I don't know when we actually bumped into it. Quite recently, it looks like our scout found it. Obviously, we weren't the first meet, as we don't have an envoy there. And however, They have a quest to trigger Eureka for Masonry, which is super easy to do. In case you don't know, all it takes to trigger that Eureka is to build a quarry. So we will get that up and going. Well, I guess it won't be immediately as the stone's a ways away, but we will still be able to get it. So maybe that actually makes our decision a little bit easier, and we'll go ahead and settle more over here so that we can take care of that quicker. So with our warrior here, though, we're just going to go ahead and tell them to heal up for another turn, and as we're waiting for our settler to get over there and build the city. Now this warrior will go ahead and kill this slinger there, and then we'll heal up before engaging with the barbarian camp. Now what we are going to do, however, is head across the river, and this is because we would get a negative production penalty. Like, as you can see down there, we get -5 for being a damaged unit, but then we actually, well, it's not showing up attacking across the river. Oh yeah, there we go. Sorry, it's on the spearman side where it says +5 river defense. So as you can see, it's gonna, attacking across the river is gonna give the barbarians an extra 5 combat strength. So we're gonna head across the river and we'll heal up on that hill over there before we engage them. So we've clearly met Georgia here, and again, they're so far away from us that we're gonna go ahead and send them a delegation the first time, because it's the first turn we met them and we don't want them to be pissy with us. And we're definitely not planning on settling out this way immediately, so it just doesn't hurt us to send that delegation, as it will make them more likely to offer us better trade terms. Now, speaking of trade terms, our settlers almost ready to plop our city down, which we're going to go ahead and do right now. So we get +3 era score for that because we're settling so close to the wonder there, which is great. It bumps us up to 17. Now we're still a ways away from getting our campus down. There's nothing that we can do to avoid that. What I am going to do is go ahead and start work on a monument right away. The reason I'm choosing a monument is because, as you can see here, it gives us culture. So it gives +1 culture, and if we're at full loyalty, which clearly we will be, it gives us a second culture. And if you look up in the top of the screen, we're only making 1.7 culture at this point, so we can use all the fucking culture we can get our hands on. It will just help make it that much easier for us to get up in the civics tree quicker, and we want to get towards political philosophy so we can get our second tier of government as soon as we can. Not to mention, it also helps us get these governor titles for getting state workforce in early empire quicker, which, I mean, it just makes sense that if you can get your governor unlocked early, the earlier the better, right? So culture is always a good thing. Now we'll go ahead and get rid of the map tack there. Now our slinger over here, oops, before I forget, I was just going to say our slinger over here is finished. However, before I forget, we're going to go ahead and see who will give us the best terms for selling off our Mercury. I totally forgot. Did we settle on the Mercury over here? So I totally forgot when we were getting these camps up online that ivory is a luxury resource. Believe it or not, it's fucking hard to talk while you're playing and think at the same time. It just makes you more prone to make mistakes, and clearly this was a big one. So I should have taken these ivory resources as soon as we got our camps up online and traded them immediately. So we're going to correct that now. We have 3 different luxury resources to trade away, so we're going to do get as much as we can for them. Now Peter here is being a dick. Clearly he's not even going to give us 100 gold for it, so let's go ahead and see if we can get a better deal elsewhere. Alright, so Georgia isn't being such an asshole, so we'll definitely go ahead with her. Let's start at 140 and see. So she won't give us that much. 130, no. So she's still being, ouch, a little bit stingy here. So let's see. Looks like 111 is her max. And let's check the Khmer. Okay, so he's being stingy as well. So we might as well just go ahead and get what we can. We'll trade her it. So what was it, 111? And then we'll go ahead and trade her the Mercury as well, since the other ones have it. You always want to take, in the early game anyway, you always want to take lump gold as much as you can. This is because it just allows you to actually do something with it immediately and get more of an advantage that way. So now she's being stingy with the Mercury, which is unfortunate because I was pretty sure, I know that the Khmer had it, but I'm pretty sure so did, oh no, they didn't. So let's see what he'll give us. Unfortunately, looks like they're all being quite stingy at this moment. There's nothing that we can do to get around it. So we might as well just go ahead and take what we can get. Now, they're not going to give us 100. They will give us the 96 though. Let's see if they'll give us one. No, they won't. So we'll go ahead and trade the ivory to them for 96. It's almost not even worth it, to be completely honest. However, I think the short-term gain of getting that gold immediately so we can use it to our advantage is worth it, and we'll go ahead and get the Mercury sold to the Russians here now. So he won't give us 100, he will give us 98 though, it looks like, so we'll take it. Again, the immediate boost is worth it. I think that will pretty much get us into position to be able to afford a settler in the next turn or two. 440, well, I guess it's a little bit more than a turn or two, but it looks like in about 6 turns or so we will be able to afford it. So that will be definitely worth it. In the meantime, in the capital here, we still have a ways to go before our population increases, so we're going to go ahead and squeeze in a warrior. Again, normally I definitely don't build this many warriors early on. However, as we already talked about, we want to get as many melee units out as early as we can with the Turks here, because we are going to be using them in our wars and upgrading them to our special unit later in the game. Alright, so our warriors made it across the hill. We'll just rest up there before engaging with the Barbarian Camp. We've got pottery, so we're only 8 turns away from writing. It's definitely cutting it a little bit close, unfortunately. We might not be able to get our campus online as quickly as we'd like, which is a little bit unfortunate. So with that being said, I think what we will do is go ahead and we'll queue up a builder here in the capital for after they finish their warrior, and we'll chop this forest to help them get their campus before the era ends so that we can lock in that era score. We're at 17 to 25 right now, and we're gonna get 3 right here when we kill this Barbarian Camp, which is great. So we're only 5 away now, and we'll get 2 more from this Barbarian Camp, which will be 3, and then killing that Barbarian Camp will actually give us our golden age. So we actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we don't need to get this campus online immediately, so we'll go ahead and say screw that builder, and we'll, oh, I guess I can't slot in a settler technically because our population isn't high enough yet. But yeah, so we'll go into a settler next, actually, not a builder here, for that reason that we don't need this campus to get the era score, as we've been fortunate to get so many barbarians. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take a shot at this scout here, speaking of the barbarians. We've met Cleopatra, and again, I'm exchanging capitals because she's clearly not right beside us. Ooh. Looks like we had a bit of a flood there, which is a little unfortunate. Jesus Christ. So that Barbarian Camp is going a little bit crazy. Instead of buying a settler right away, we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy a builder here first. It makes no sense to go ahead and get a settler if we're just going to lose our city. Actually, come to think of it, I'm just trying to decide between a warrior and a settler right now, that's all. Or sorry, I mean between a warrior and a slinger, not a fucking settler. Jeez. As tempted as I was to get a slinger, because we'd save 20 gold, and then it's nice to get archers in the early game, because we are playing as the Turks here, we're going to go ahead and get a warrior. It'll give us that much more combat strength, for defense in our city. And then, as we already talked about, it'll also be a melee unit, which will later upgrade into our special unit. So it just makes sense as far as I'm concerned. Now, unfortunately here, they are going to be attacking us again with their scout, because we killed the Barbarian Camp down here. They're going to go batshit crazy, essentially. However, I'm not going to head up with this warrior, as I think the warrior we just bought and the slinger over there should be more than enough to deal with it. So let's keep headed towards the Russia here and see what there is as far as locations for cities over this way. Alright, let's just head over and get closer. So they did go ahead and kill themselves here with their scout, because we took out their camp. They did go batshit crazy. Now I'm just going to sit here with our slinger and let the warriors come to us. However, we'll go ahead and move out with our warrior to provide them another tempting target. And we'll just sit here and fortify in our own territory and heal up with our warrior and let them self-destruct across the river towards us. And then next turn, this warrior will most likely move here, and we'll be able to start taking shots at them with our slinger. They won't be able to attack us immediately, because crossing the river takes an entire turn, so they wouldn't be able to attack us until the turn afterwards. Now, we finished our warrior here in the capital, and our population's gone up, so let's start on another settler. However, we're going to keep a close eye on this, and I'm fucking notoriously bad for this, so I'm going to do my best to keep a close eye on this, because we don't want to let this settler complete before we buy that settler for gold, and we still have a ways to go before our gold gets to that point where we can afford the settler, since we had to pay for this warrior in order to save that city over there. And this is because with every settler that you produce, the cost of purchasing a settler goes up. Like, the first settler costs you 360 to buy, and if you look, well, I guess we did look earlier, but in order to purchase a settler now, it's 440 gold, and after your next settler comes out, if we were to wait, it would be 540, I believe, is the, or 560, sorry. I think it goes up 120 gold per settler that comes out. So we definitely want to pay attention to that and not let the settler finish until we purchase that other one. So we'll definitely be watching that, and now that I'm saying this with as much gusto and enthusiasm as I have, I'm probably going to end up screwing that up, so I'm just quoting it now. In the meantime here, we'll skip turn with the slinger. As we said, we're going to let them head towards us, but we will move closer to them with this warrior as well. Now, our scout here is busy exploring, however, the barbarian scout has interrupted that, so we'll just manually explore. Might as well go ahead and take the shot, as it's just free experience for our scout, so why not?
Every nation lives by exchanging.
Alright, so we've gotten foreign trade taken care of, and as far as our policies go, we've already gotten our Pantheon, so since that's out of the way, we want to get out of God King as quickly as we can, and we're going to choose urban planning. The +1 production in all cities is by far the better choice between the two of them. Now that we, as we already talked about, now that we do have the Pantheon out of the way, and the more cities we get out, obviously the more effective this is. But just in the early game itself, +1 production per city is a great bonus. Seeing as how we're dealing with so many frickin' barbarians, clearly we're going to keep discipline in, so we'll go ahead and confirm the policies there. Now, we are running out of a bit of time here. Well, I guess we still have 10 turns, so it shouldn't be anything to give us too much of a problem. Let's go ahead and start taking shots at this camp over here. And we're going to head towards early Empire. We should definitely get that boost before it becomes an issue. And we want to get that colonization policy card up and running as quickly as we can, as we already talked about earlier. Now, we're still paying attention to that. We have 6 turns, so we're all good there. Now, Yeah, they should still be fine. Let's keep exploring with our warrior on this side of the mountain range. Now, we'll take a shot at that warrior. We'll take another shot across the river. And with this guy, we'll just fortify until healed. Since we are in our territory, we'll let them self-destruct into us next turn. Now, our scout here can go ahead and heal up before he continues exploring. Alright, so they did kill themselves on us, which is great. We'll go ahead here and kill them with the slinger, and that's because we want to get the boost towards archery. Alright, which is great. We got that there. Not to mention our slinger's now ready for a promotion. We'll go ahead and move across the river with our troops here, and same thing with this warrior. We don't want to get too close to them, and they will be able to move forward and attack one of the two choices. However, we are in good defensive terrain, whether it's the forest or the hill, and then we should be able to, whichever one it attacks, just double team them next turn and clear it out. Alright, so over here we're going to go ahead and take our promotion. As we already mentioned, battle cry's the better promotion early on when you're dealing with barbarians and stuff, so we'll go ahead and grab that up immediately. Now, here it just makes sense for us to take a free hit on the scout for experience. We ended up meeting another city-state, not to mention we also completed a quest, if we find it here. Oh, no, we didn't. Never mind. I'm talking out of my ass. Alright, however, we did meet another city-state, and I just happened to look up and notice, too, that Cleopatra is friendly with us, so we're going to go ahead and declare friendship. We plan on playing this, making this a domination game, obviously, but considering she's so fucking far away, we will definitely be dealing with other civilizations first, whether that's Russia or Khmer. It just makes sense that they're the likely targets, unless there happens to be another civilization somewhere in here that we haven't discovered yet. Now, unfortunately for us, they didn't end up attacking, so we'll just go ahead and take an extra turn to heal over here. We'll promote our slinger, and we're going to take volley because we'll be using them aggressively, so it makes more sense rather than going towards the garrison promotion. In the meantime, we definitely want to attack here. We want to kill them now that Kabul's getting close. They won't be able to cross the river next turn, so we'll be able to kill them and take the air score no problem over there, it looks like.
Fighting means sharing. It's part of the human condition.
Alright, so we did get writing there. We still have 10 more turns exactly before we get the next era. Now, let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is lock in the price of our campus right now. So we're going to drop that down. In case you don't know, the price of your districts goes up depending on the further you get into the game as far as ages go, as well as every different civic you research and technology, it also increases it. So by placing the campus down, even though we're going to go ahead and finish our monument first, it locks in the price there. So it's always good to go ahead and do that. Now, just taking a look here in the capital, I think we'd probably be best off dropping a campus over here, as we have a couple different mountain tiles, so it is definitely a good idea for us to do that there, and it's out of the way. However, we definitely want to chop that forest out before we go ahead and do that, so we're not in a rush. And again, we still have 3 turns on that settler. I'm glad that I just realized that, because I totally biffed and forgot about it until now. So I gotta do my best to remember that. It's only 2 turns, so I should, with any luck, be able to remember. Meanwhile, what we'll do is we'll move closer with our slinger, and we'll still just heal up with our warriors in those spots. Even if they do attack the slinger, they have to attack across the river, so we're at an advantage there. Now that we have gotten writing out of the way, we'll definitely want to head towards archery. Now, I will stop this, if I remember, that is, before we end up getting it completely, so that way we'll be able to get a couple more slingers out for that discounted production cost that we already talked about. Alright, so might as well take a turn or two to heal up with that warrior there. This one, however, is going to go ahead and clear out the Barbarian Camp this turn. So that's great. We got the era score for that, so we're at 23 out of 25. So as soon as we clear out this camp over here, we will definitely get that. Now, I think we're going to start moving this warrior, actually. Instead of healing them up, we're going to start to flank them and come around this side. Oh, never mind. Definitely won't be coming around this side of the mountain range. Okay, so our scout over here is healed up. We'll start exploring again with them. They did take the shot at our slinger, but oh well. We'll go ahead and kill them now with that. Meanwhile, with this warrior, we're going to go ahead and move over a tile, and same thing with this one. We'll heal up with both of them. And in the meantime, next turn, we'll heal up with that guy, and this turn will heal that warrior before we continue exploring. Okay, so she's chirping us because we don't have any walls, and I think on top of that, because we have barbarians close by, we'll take the delegation from Cleopatra. I guess I did actually totally forget to send her a delegation. So now at this point, though, considering we are friends, and I totally, oh, thank Christ, just remembered right now, we're going to go ahead and switch out of the settler before we build it, and we'll start work on a builder. In the meantime, let's quickly take a look here and see, as far as these go, what the city states. So train a heavy chariot, which is definitely possible, and then we need to get that stone online for Valletta that we already talked about. Recruiting a great general, it will definitely be on our list as well. So we happen to get extremely lucky in the fact that we found 3 military city-states. So considering we are planning for a domination, it is definitely a nice bonus for us. We'll go ahead and heal up with this slinger here. Meanwhile, we'll take a shot with the warrior, and this warrior, however, will just sit there and fortify until healed. Now we'll take the promotion with this one, and we'll finish them off with that warrior. However, we'll flip-flop them next turn, because clearly this one needs to heal up. Speaking of healing up, our warrior over here has healed up, so we'll keep exploring. Okay, so we have 6 turns to clear this out. I still think that should be fairly realistic for us to do. We'll start headed towards there. We'll play musical chairs with our warriors there and start healing this guy up. In the meantime, we'll just keep exploring. So there's definitely some nice city locations over here. We finished our monument here. I think we'll go ahead and get started on our campus, on our granary actually, as I want the city to, never mind. We'll get started on our campus. It won't finish until next era anyway, so we won't be wasting the era score. So there's no worries there. Here, we're going to go ahead and start attacking them with the warrior there. We'll get closer with our slinger. Meanwhile, this warrior we'll go ahead and put them on automated exploration here. Okay, so taking a look over here, we're going to plan where to put a couple cities down in here, as we have some fucking nice tiles to take advantage of. So let's just take a quick minute to plan that out. Alright, so I took a little bit of time here and planned out a few cities for us. So it looks like we will actually be headed towards Russia more so than the Khmer. I mean, grabbing this city is still a priority for us, but other than that, I think this little valley here in between the mountain range looks nicer. Not to mention we have some great defensive bonuses if it comes to that with the mountain ranges and the rivers. So I think we are more likely going to be attacking Russia first, and then headed towards the Khmer as our second victim of this game. Well, I should say, if we were planning to play this game the full way out instead of just doing a tutorial here. So, with that being said, we finished the builder in the city, so let's go ahead. We finally have enough money. Oh, I guess we did 2 turns ago and I missed it, but let's go ahead and purchase that settler. What? Oh, yeah, sorry. We can't purchase the settler because we have a builder in the in the city. So we'll go ahead and move that builder there, and then we'll go ahead and purchase our settler here. And we'll have to wait until the population increases before we can finish the settler there. So speaking of that, might as well start work on a granary here, which will help us grow, considering our food resources are limited to begin with. Meanwhile, with this builder, we'll go ahead and drop a mine here on the copper next turn, and then head to the south to repair our farm tiles and get them up and running as quickly as we can. With this warrior, we'll go ahead and just tell them to automate exploration. Meanwhile, we'll take another swing here at the spearman, and we'll just skip turn with the slinger. I don't think we'll have any problems killing that spearman next turn, which will give us the air score we need to secure our golden age. Okay, and there you go. We got that taken care of now. This warrior can just keep healing. Meanwhile, let's get this slinger to head towards the far reaches of our territory. With this slinger, with this settler, mind you, we're gonna head up towards that location that we had scouted out there. We want to drop that down before the Khmer keeps forward settling us and screw it up for us. And then now the population here in the capital's risen, so we're gonna go ahead and grab the settler before finishing that granary. So like we talked about, we'll go ahead and get the builder here to head south so he can repair. I told you I was fucking bad at that. I totally spaced out and I let archery complete before we built a couple more slingers. So that is unfortunate. Taking a look here, we're definitely going to be boosting masonry in the near future. So we'll start researching some of it now, as it's still going to be a while. It's still going to be a while before we start getting our encampments online, so there's no real rush for that. And it just makes sense for us to do it that way, since it's one of the city-states missions there for us to complete the Eureka for it. So, yeah, right there. Valletta wants us to do it, so we might as well do that. As soon as we get a third city up and running over here, we'll get that stone going, and we'll be able to take care of that with 2 birds with 1 stone. It's 2 birds with 1 stone, as we're talking about building fucking... Wow. Yeah. Anyways, let's keep going here. Alright, so actually, I just want to take a quick second and say, if you've been enjoying the video, please do me a favor and leave a like on it. It goes a long way towards helping a small channel like me get discovered, so I'd really appreciate that. And if you really want to go that extra mile, leave a like and a comment down below. I mean, you can just call me an asshole. I don't really care. It just helps the videos get discovered. Any comments and likes, etc., etc., engagement on the video does help us out. So I'd really appreciate that if you could take a minute of your time and help me out with that. Continuing along here, our scout has just run into a Barbarian Warrior, so we're just gonna basically run away with our tail between our legs here. Meanwhile, we'll let that warrior heal up before we decide what to do with them. And now, as we mentioned earlier, you don't have to worry about scouts and whatever when they're... Sorry. I just realized that I didn't actually build the mine on the copper. I'm a freaking idiot. Anywho, as I was saying there, you don't have to worry about scouts and because they can't attack you unless their camp's been destroyed. But clearly, whether it's this one or the one over here, this scout camp has been destroyed, so we want to run the hell away from them before it takes over our builder. So we bumped into Gandhi. It's an honor to meet you. Let's take a look and see where he is. So he's up there. So it looks like we might go Russia, Gandhi, and then the Khmer will have to, or that, sorry, that would be what we would be doing. Holy Christ, another Barbarian Camp. Alright, well, we're definitely getting our fair share of era score over here. I guess we know where we'll be sending our troops, so there's no point sending this one up to the north if we're going to be using them. We might as well upgrade them to an archer to make us more efficient at dealing with those ones. In the meantime, let's head across here with this warrior to let that scout just kill itself. And then that'll free us up to use this builder to actually build and repair tiles. Okay, so we're just going to keep running away with our scout there. And I just realized I totally forgot to send Gandhi a delegation. That's definitely an oversight on my part, and it looks like there's a barbarian archer over here, so we're kind of caught in between a rock and a hard place, no pun intended. We'll head back this way and we'll heal up for one turn. With any luck, the warrior will engage with the archer here, but probably not. I think we're most likely just going to be screwed. So anywho, taking a look at our dedications here. So as we already mentioned, we did secure our golden age, which is awesome. Let's take a look at that. Now, as far as what dedication we're going to go for, we need to do a little bit of thinking here. So first off, we have free inquiry, where Eureka's providing an additional 10% of technology costs. Commercial hub and harbor districts gold adjacency bonus provides science as well. So don't get me wrong, this is definitely a nice dedication to take. However, I don't think it's the best dedication to take when it's your first, if you do manage to do like we did and get a golden age in the classical age. I definitely don't think it's your best choice, because unless you've beelined currency, you are not going to have your commercial hubs. You're not going to have your commercial hubs up early enough where you're going to be able to take advantage of this for your entire era. So I just think this is a better choice if you're headed into like your medieval or Renaissance eras, golden ages instead. Pen, brush, and voice is a very good choice here. It's definitely the second best. It's actually the one that we're going to pick this time, however. But generally speaking, I'm going to skip past it here and talk about these last two. So we have Monumentality. Generally speaking, Monumentality is the best choice if you're going into a golden age, as long as you have some way that you're producing faith. The ability to get +2 movement for all builders, and you can purchase civilian units with faith, as well as builders and settlers being 30% cheaper to purchase, whether that's with faith or gold. That is unmatched. Like, it is beyond powerful as long as you have some way to generate faith, which I don't know if you can see, probably not because it's so blacked out here, but we don't have an ability to generate faith right now, so it's completely useless for us. But if you have any way that you're getting faith, it is by far the best dedication to pick, hands down, and it's only available for the first 3 eras, so you definitely want to prioritize it, because as you get later in the game, it's not going to be available for you to choose, so you definitely want to jump on that. And then Exodus of the Evangelists here, we're not having anything to do with a religion, so there's no point in us taking it, which leads us back to pen, brush, and voice, and it gives inspirations, provide an additional 10% of civics cost. Each city receives +1 culture for each specialty district. So this is going to help us boost our culture, which is great, as we're going to be getting districts up in all of our cities fairly quickly here. And we want to get culture going as quickly as we can. Now, the reason behind this, as we already talked about, culture is great. It's going to help us get to our next level of government quicker, get our governors quicker, which is always nice. And while I'm looking at this, I just realized that we've gotten to the point where we've done all of our researching for early empire and we haven't gotten the boost for it yet, so we're going to switch out of that, because you don't want to waste culture sinking points into this when we're just going to get that as once our civilization grows fast enough. Anyway, back to what I was talking about there. We want to get towards political philosophy as quick as we can and get our governor titles. But then also on top of all that, because we are doing a domination victory here, or we would be if we were playing this as a real game, we want to get up towards mercenaries as quickly as we can, and this is because it's going to allow us to upgrade our units for 50% cheaper, as well as using 50% less strategic resources. So that is definitely something we want to prioritize, and having that boost towards culture helps us get there that much quicker, which is why Pen Brush and the Voice is the better choice for us by far. In my opinion, anyways. Ding! Disclaimer. Alright, so we finished the settler here. Now, I am lucky. As I was looking at the dedications, I just happened to glance down at the mini-map and I saw another Khmer city here. And I was silently cursing in my head, thinking that they screwed up our city plan. However, they didn't. We are still within 4 tiles, so we can still settle that city there. So we're going to go ahead and definitely jump on that right away. We're going to get our settler headed up to the north. He's nice and protected from this... from that barbarian scout there anyways, and we'll start heading to the east over here to clear out this barbarian camp with the rest of our troops. We're going to kind of zone out the scout here and hopefully they'll attack us. We will send our scout back out here, and that's because if it happens to be captured by either of these scouts, because I'm not sure, since this scout didn't suicide into us, I'm thinking that this might be the actual scout from the camp over here. So in that case, they might be able to take over our builder here. However, since we have the slinger and the 2 warriors, we kind of have them sandwiched in where I'm not worried about them actually taking it over, as we'd be able to grab it right back. Now in our capital here, we are going to go ahead and purchase the granary. What I also want to do though is start purchasing, not purchasing units, purchasing tiles, because we want to get towards here so we can lay down our campus as quickly as we can. It shouldn't be too hard for us to get that. Let's take a quick look here. I don't think we have any resources back yet, as it hasn't been 30 turns, but it doesn't hurt to take a quick look. In the meantime, we might as well heal up with that warrior. Okay, so let's go ahead and open borders up with everybody here. It goes a long way towards helping improve your relations with that city. And although we will be fighting with Russia shortly, so it's not that big of a deal, it's also going to help us explore a little bit and find out what exactly they have going on in their territory, which will give us a better idea of how to start engaging them once we do declare war. So in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and open those borders now, and you always... Oh, we don't have the technology. What? We don't have the technology to open borders yet? Oh, we don't. It's... you have to get set... What the hell is it called now? You have to get early empire. That's it. There we go. You have to get early empire in order to have open borders back and forth. So there's no point right now. We'll have to wait. Our population will be growing anyways. We have 4, but we'll be dropping that city soon. So it looks like in 10 turns we'll have the boost towards early empire. If not a little bit sooner, once we get those farms back online. Alright, so our warrior over here, I'm going to head back and see if I can take a free shot at that scout over there. And in the meantime, we will go ahead and grab the open borders from Peter. What would it take? 9 gold? Sure, why not? Just so that we can get through his territory. Normally, it's a better option once we have the ability to get open borders. You can charge the AI to open your borders up. They'll almost always pay you gold unless they really hate you, which is normally not the case. So with this warrior, we're going to head over here and kill that scout. Meanwhile, this builder's finally going to actually build this mine here. I can't believe I totally forgot to build the mine the last time before I had to move down there. But we'll go ahead and get that out of the way. Now with this warrior, we'll take the free shot at their scout and get some free experience. However, as you can see, it was only +1 experience now. Once you get out of the ancient era, you get less experience for attacking barbarians. Okay, so our scout managed to survive here. Because there is that archer over there that we discovered, we're gonna move over 1 slot to get farther away, and then we'll take the promotion. Now, taking a quick look around here, there seem to be a lot of rainforest and there seem to be a lot of forested tiles, so we'll go ahead and we'll actually take the Ranger promotion. Generally speaking, I almost always take the Alpine promotion first, as I think it's usually more effective. However, in this case, it doesn't look like that is the actual case. Meanwhile, with our troops here, we're going to start headed down south towards the Barbarian Camp, and I totally forgot that we wanted to upgrade the Slinger before we did that, and we're about to eat some arrows from the Barbarian Archer over here, so that's going to be a little bit painful. So the Khmer do seem to be sending quite a few warriors down here. That's something we want to keep an eye on. I'm not actually too worried about it because we do have so many troops in the area anyway. However, we are going to definitely run away with this Slinger and heal up, but we definitely will keep an eye on them. Now, in the meantime, let's move a little bit closer here, and we'll probably heal up with them before engaging. Meanwhile, with this builder, let's go ahead and repair these 2 tiles before we head up towards here and wait out until we can purchase that tile to clear it and get our campus going. Now, in case you don't know, you always want to clear out the tile that you're planning on building your district. Like this has a forest, so instead of just placing this campus down immediately like we could have done that a long time ago. As you can see here, it'll remove the woods, so you're much better off to wait until you have a builder to use and go there and harvest those woods so you can actually make use of the production rather than just completely waste it. Alright, so the warrior here can get a promotion. We'll go ahead and take battle cry since we are dealing with so many barbarians. Meanwhile, we'll take another step closer with our settler. Oh wait, what the hell am I doing? Oh, wow. Alright, so this settler is going to head back over here. Now, we're going to move as far as we can over here towards Russia. Not this tile here, because it's not that great of a city. We want to be able to build up loyalty as quickly as we can. I think in this case, taking this city first makes more sense because we want to get the stone up online in order to get that quest for Valletta taken care of so we can get a free envoy. So we'll head there next. I can't believe I had 2 settlers headed towards this spot. Alright, well, we did finally make it here with our settlers, so we'll go ahead and drop that city next turn. Meanwhile, the archers coming closer, so we're going to keep kind of just ducking and running here away from them. Okay, so that's where they're coming from, clearly. Hopefully, with any luck, we'll be able to skirt around them. Now, we're going to go ahead and let this warrior heal up a little bit before continuing on. Meanwhile, our builder here can finally go ahead and repair our farm, which is badly needed. Meanwhile, we'll move the slinger into the city and heal up before we improve them to an archer. We actually are going to put that off until we can get some more money, because I think getting this campus started as soon as we can is more of a priority. It already seems like the Khmer warriors are over here, so they'll most likely clear out this barbarian camp before we would be able to get there anyway. Speaking of barbarians, let's head over this way and see if we can kill this scout quickly, and we'll head over there next turn to repair that one. Now we'll go ahead and drop our city here, and as far as what we're going to do is we want the city to grow as quickly as possible. So I'm going to start on a granary instead of, usually I always start with monuments. Oh Jesus, ouch. Alright, so we're taking some lickings with a scout here. Hopefully we can survive, but not bloody likely unless they manage to kill that archer. So rest in peace, Mr. Scout. In the meantime, we did finish our granary here in the capital. I think we're pretty well served to start on a trader here in the meantime.
If you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell to keep up with the channel.
But I just realized we hit 50 turns, so this is where we're going to leave it. But hopefully this kind of gave you a little bit of a taste as to what we wanted to do to set up for a domination. Unfortunately, you can't always get what you want. It would have been nice if we would have had a civilization that is close to us so that we could immediately start engaging them in a war and start upgrading our warriors that way. However, with that being said, I really do think that we have some nice territory here, and considering we are playing as the Ottomans and our unique unit is so far down the tech tree anyways, this gives us a little bit of time to build up a nice core of cities, and then we'll have quite a few different cities that would have good production yields and allow us to spawn decent armies and conquer. I think this would definitely be a fairly good game to play, considering the fact, or especially considering the fact that we have 3 different militaristic city-states that we've also discovered, which definitely goes a long way towards helping you in your domination. Anyway, I think that is about it. So if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to ask them down in the comment sections, and I'll do my, or in the comment section, and I'll do my best to help answer them. Other than that, I'm just gonna shut up, and I'll see you in the next video.